Welcome to this week's Total Football Podcast. I'm Declan Hare, and as always, I'm joined by Andrew Conway.
Hello.
This week we'll discuss FA Cup, Champions League, and whatever else is on our minds. We have some news to open the show this week. I'd just like to mention the fact that we are now recording the show live on twitch.tv/Total Football Podcast. If you want to watch us, watch our beautiful faces every Monday around 6:30ish.
Yeah.
Be roughly the time, yeah. And then the video will go up on YouTube, hopefully at some point during the week.
Yeah, immediately.
Yeah,
hopefully.
as early as
Quickly
we can.
enough.
But then into the show, the news. There's a fine tradition of players blowing off steam. Cantona's scissor kung fu kicking a fan. Strikers attacking corner flags after breaking goal droughts. Managers and players alike attacking plastic bottles or other stadium equipment. Or be like Gareth Bale and go for a nice round of golf on a golf course. Or you could always steal a taxi in Spain.
Yeah. As blowing off steam goes, it's not as outrageous as, say, the Cantona incident or, maybe a few of those weirder moments, what should we call them? Stuart Pearce just screaming into eternity, scoring a penalty for England in Euro 96.
We even had Mick McCarthy just yesterday.
Yeah, beating Norwich in the FA Cup.
They drew.
Or drawing or scoring against Norwich in the FA Cup.
Or it was the Championship, wasn't it?
No, was it not the FA Cup?
It was the Championship.
Oh, was it the Championship? I am
just
so lost.
It was just
all I know is I saw Mick McCarthy lose his mind.
It was brilliant. My favourite manager reaction though was when Slaven Bilic was still at West Ham.
What did he do?
I can't remember who they were playing, but they were at the Olympic Stadium and he just picks up the mic, the big mic that's there on the side of the fish line. Yeah, and he just throws it at the ground.
Those are expensive pieces of equipment. I hope
it was like right at the end of the match. I think they didn't get a penalty or something. He just
lost his mind. Yeah, I remember Mark Hughes kicking water bottles or throwing water bottles.
There was Wenger, the most famous incident against Manchester United.
What did he do against Manchester United?
I remember he kicked the water bottle and got sent to the stands by Mike Dean.
Mike Dean.
And there's the great picture of him holding his hands out like
that. Because he's standing on top
Why?
of the
Why
box.
am I here?
Well, no, it's because he was trying to send him. He said that's not fair enough, and he's standing He's standing on top of the box.
Yeah, United fans yelling at him as well. It's just a great image.
Yeah, it is something, that's for sure. But yeah, I don't know what, because it was Bose Myhill, Gareth Barry, Johnny Evans, and who was the other player?
I can't remember. It was one of the senior. Was it Gareth McCauley? No, I don't think it was.
No, it wasn't Gareth McCauley.
It was 4 senior players though, the most senior players.
Yeah, especially the most experienced. Like it's been 20 years Gareth Barry's been playing in the Premier League.
Club captain Johnny Evans.
No longer club captain, he's been stripped of the captaincy. It's a very unhelpful situation.
Yeah, they're in a relegation battle and they're doing that. Like Pardew is actually kind of the victim for once.
Well, I don't think Alan Pardew, he was he held sympathy for them. The players needed to unleash some steam, and even Mauricio Pellegrino, the Southampton manager, just to make sure it's not Pellegrini.
Yeah,
Pellegrino said when he was a player at Liverpool, they often felt like that, which was a strange thing.
They felt like stealing a taxi.
Yeah, in a foreign city, in a foreign country where they don't know the ramifications. Like if that was, they could have been a hefty punishment for that. They were very lucky that there wasn't enormous consequences for them personally.
It was very strange,
yeah, because they could have voided their contracts.
So
for instance,
it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah,
in the end, did they even get fined by the club or anything?
Oh, there is pending.
Yeah,
there's pending disciplinary proceedings, including he obviously lost his captaincy. Whether that has ramifications on his contract. And Johnny Evans, remember, was wanted by at least 2 clubs in Christmas.
Yeah.
2 big clubs.
2 high profile.
Man City and Arsenal both wanted him. And he didn't go up because West Brom wanted more money. Yeah. And I imagine the price is going to go down in the summer if they want that player again.
Yeah, Johnny Evans is hitting 30 now as well, isn't
he? He is, but he's experienced and he's he's not a player. He didn't burst on the scene. Remember, he was on loan at Sunderland initially. Yeah. He didn't burst like a non-18-year-old player who's playing first-team football. He's not Rio Ferdinand or anything like that. He is growing into it, and I imagine he's got another 3 to 5 years left.
Yeah, but
certainly
again,
one contract for a big club.
But again, then this incident just kind of maybe damages that potential for that.
And Gareth Barry potentially last season.
Yeah,
Meyer. This is what he might actually be. He might actually be remembered for stealing a taxi more than anything else in his career.
Yeah, add that and getting a load of yellow cards.
Yeah, well, that'll be surpassed. Records are there to be broken.
Yeah.
Stealing taxis isn't there to be broken.
Yeah, certainly. They're the trendsetters anyway.
Yeah.
And then the FA Cup was on as well. We mentioned Maurizio Pellegrino. They played in the FA Cup. It was against West Brom. It was 3-1.
3-1 in the end. Yeah, there wasn't. The FA Cup weekend was not one mired in extravagance.
And Southampton have kind of just quietly gotten to the quarterfinals.
Yeah. Well, there's a few teams in there, like Leicester City are there.
Yeah, Leicester against Chelsea is a good quarterfinal draw.
Yeah, it could be worse, but Leicester, Chelsea aren't in the best of form. They're probably going to focus on their other commitments, whether it be Champions League at that point, or whether it be trying to stay in the top four if things go bad for them in that competition. Leicester are, they're fairly secure in 7th or 8th places. They're there.
We've seen what Puel can do in cup competitions as well. He brought Southampton to the League Cup final last year.
And he's done it with Lyon in the past.
Yeah, they got to a Champions League semi-final, didn't they? Yeah.
So there is past priors for him there doing well.
But then, Tottenham had the biggest upset, I suppose, the weekend. But even then, it was 2-2.
Tottenham continuing their poor FA Cup form because they've been gone to replay before. And they've been held by
against a similarly poor side.
Yeah, lower league side who hasn't done a huge amount this season. And, Spurs having this hangover from European performances. I dispute that Spurs are that amazing against Juventus. I think Juventus kind of let them back into the game, and Spurs are very lucky not to be losing 3-1 at half time in that match. But they came out with a very credible 2-all draw
result,
away from home, 2 away goals. They bring the Italians back to Wembley. But as a result of that, they had a hangover because they had to bring on their big guns.
Llorente was playing.
Yeah, but they had to bring on players.
Yeah, Kane eventually did come on.
That they may have wanted to rest for the league campaign coming up because it is going to get very intensive now. Because if they manage to bypass Juventus in this last 16, they're not going to get any easier ties.
Yeah,
it's just going to be hard all the way, and then they still have to keep up with the Premier League.
But then, of course, there's the whole thing surrounding Pochettino and Tottenham of they need to win a trophy.
Yeah, it is something that's playing on him, but I don't think he said it before. He doesn't play for the FA Cup. He doesn't play for the League Cup. He's put down these tournaments.
It's strange he didn't just kind of accept defeat, really, in a way, and keep the players on the pitch.
I think if that was a Premier League side in either of the last 2 rounds, I don't think Spurs would still be in the FA Cup.
Yeah,
I think they'd let that much, carelessness creep into their game, and it is very dangerous when teams do that because there's one thing saying, we have to be realistic. It actually makes less fixtures is actually good for Spurs.
Yeah.
You don't want to say that, and as fans of clubs, they do not want to hear that. But it is realistic for it. But then again, the best teams, look at Man City. Being in the FA Cup isn't helping them. Playing a League Cup final next week.
Yeah.
Against Arsenal, which is not going to be an easy game, hasn't helped them. Playing a 2-leg semi-final in the League Cup did not help them.
Yeah, that.
But here they are, they're cruising in the Champions League. They're cruising in the league. They may be losing players to injury, and then they just still keep winning.
Yeah.
They are that good. That is what the best teams do. And in time gone by, that is what the Manchester United teams that won everything did. That's what the Arsenal teams, Chelsea teams, the Liverpool teams going way back, always competed for all the tournaments. Liverpool famously just kept winning the League Cup in the 80s.
Yeah.
Just kept winning it every year because they didn't want to get out of that winning mentality. And that is the purpose of these competitions in this day and age.
Do you think Tottenham need to win the FA Cup this season?
I don't think they will win the FA Cup. I don't think they'll treat it seriously enough. I think if it comes down to a semi-final or quarter-final being on at a weekend and then them having to play a midweek either European game or Premier League game, they will give that match the Premier League or European game precedent over the FA Cup match, and that'll hurt them in the FA Cup.
I remember Ferguson doing that in a semi-final one year. He completely rested a bunch of his players and they lost to Everton in 2009, I think. Or it must have been 2010.
It's happened. It's a risk because I remember it was Arsenal against Manchester United was the Champions League semi-final, I think.
Yeah,
and Arsenal played Chelsea in an FA Cup semi-final, and Arsenal put out at Wembley at lunchtime kickoff put out a reserve team in an FA Cup semi-final because they were losing the Champions League. They weren't going to beat that Manchester United team. Didn't really have much of a hope, and they still did not pursue the likely silverware, and that got the manager a lot of stick from the fans at the time.
Although Wenger's kind of seen the light of the FA Cup in recent years.
Yeah, he has. It's kept him in his job, if nothing else.
Just not this season.
There could be arguments. One, because the other teams are so preoccupied with their other ventures. Yeah. Manchester United with the league, Chelsea with kind of Conte not losing his job. Or, sustaining himself there. Man City perhaps chasing European Cup and the league obviously a lot harder than the FA Cup. there is an opportunity there, being that there's so many mid-ranked teams in it still, that they could go all the way. Like you say, a Southampton, like a Leicester, they have an opportunity at the very least to get to Wembley in the semi-finals.
Like
but
it's been a while. It's been a while since a non-big team won. I think Wigan was the last team in 2013.
Well, it's like Wigan and Portsmouth, and if you want to count Everton, since I think 1980, since Wimbledon won it.
Yeah.
They are the only teams not in the recognised top 6. So Man United, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool that have won the FA Cup. Like, it is a fair, for all the magic and romance of the cup, it is a fairly, predictable tournament. Like, you can say Arsenal won 2 of the last 3. Who won the
3 of the last 4?
3 of the last 4. Manchester United won the intermittent one.
Like it, and even just looking at the draw, like, it was a bit convenient, but all the big teams have avoided each other in the quarterfinals. So, and
this happened last year as well.
Yeah, 2 big semi-finals could be on the cards.
Conspiracy. Yeah, it could be.
It seems a bit more legitimate than the Carabao Cup draw that happened earlier in the season. That was pre-taped.
Yeah, it was a bit dodgy in China at 2 a.m. It was a bit of a strange one, but sponsorship brings the money in. Yeah, they have to adhere to it.
But then the Huddersfield match had against Chelsea, the VAR incident that was kind of
Manchester United.
What did I say?
Chelsea.
Oh yeah, Manchester United.
Yeah, get it right. Like.
Apologies. But there's a slight VAR incident with Mata, but I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
No, I think it's a bit of a storm in a teacup situation. It's got a lot of press attention because not a lot of other controversial things
nothing
happen.
Really happened over
and
the
this,
weekend.
Like, it could be a harbinger of the future where, due to VAR, or maybe not due to VAR, but we can say in this case, due to VAR, there's not a huge amount of conflicting decisions. There's not a huge amount of debate.
Yeah.
Like, okay, the referees kind of got everything right. Now what are we going to complain about? VAR, because VAR drew a squiggly line for an offside decision that didn't really affect the match as it was.
And
anyway.
In the end, Mata's knee was offside. He was
offside. So as for all the, basically, if you didn't see it, they did a VAR decision where they put a line across the pitch of the offside line, and it was a squiggly crayon line.
It clearly wasn't parallel to
it was as if a child had drawn. Obviously, something had gone wrong in the software.
But then Hawkeye said after a few hours after the match that that's not the image the referees looked at.
In fact, it was just something that was being given to the broadcasters to help them in their understanding of the situation.
Yeah.
But obviously, they have to sort that stuff out. Like, there's a lot of debate over it's like, should there be challenges, which I'm completely against. I think the referee should be impartial, and you should not even know about the referees. If in an ideal world, the match, it's the rules are the rules, and there's no debate over them, and everyone accepts it like a child would. Yeah. When you play like a 5-a-side for small kids, they accept the rules because there's no greater arbiter than that. Yeah. And I think that's where VAR will lead to. Obviously, it's nowhere near there at the moment.
Yeah, but give it time.
Yeah, give it time. Like, people are saying it's a year behind. It's like, what difference does a year make? It is what it is. It's only going to get better the more it's used. Yeah. The more experience both the officials. Yeah, exactly. And what do you prefer at this point? Do you prefer having a situation where a referee gets terrible decisions wrong? Like Craig Pawson is referee for the Carabao Cup final this weekend. Yeah. The last time he refed Arsenal versus Man City, apparently he got 4 decisions wrong. 3 wrong for Man City and 1 wrong for Arsenal. Yeah. And Man City fans are up in arms about him getting the Carabao Cup final. That it'll be hard for them playing it. Imagine if VAR will be present at the Carabao Cup final. Yeah. That will eliminate that perceived bias, whether it exists or not. It'll eliminate that bias from the official being chosen, and there won't be online abuse for Craig Pawson, and there won't be complete anger for no real reason. It's not something you need to be getting angry over.
But this will be the first kind of high profile match in England that we'll have.
Yeah, the first top grade final at Wembley.
So it'll be interesting to see how it works then. Yeah. You just know that if it's a little slow to make one decision, everyone will be on its back again.
Yeah. That's the thing that gets me, and I know there is, when you're in a stadium, you want things to be moving fairly freely, you want play to be going on, that's why you go to see football in a stadium. But complaints that it took 2 or 3 minutes and there's a bit of confusion. I've been at matches and there's a goal kick and the goalie's playing up and there's this ball isn't good enough, I'll go get the other ball and I'll take the goal kick from the other. Taking 2 or 3 minutes, which would drive you mad, and that's completely permitted. Yeah. I don't mind waiting 2 or 3 minutes, whether it's on TV or I'm in the stadium itself, for a decision to get right. I know for a fact that the broadcasters are going to love this as time goes on when it becomes more controlled, where they can suddenly cut to a mini 10-second break during one of these, or they go to do you know that we have coming up?
Yeah.
You know, they love that type of thing, like the broadcast. That's how they make the money, and that's what pays for football to happen. I know there is, you know, maybe in the stadium something can happen to entertain the crowd, or, you know, maybe they can make it more interactive, like they have the big screen in front of you with like VAR.
Yeah, with tense music.
Yeah, exactly. And then the decision is made if you want to make it more engaging for the stadium and fans, or maybe, you know, start something. But it's up for the clubs to figure that out. I don't think it's up for the, you know, the overall adjudicators on the game to decide how clubs deal with the time it takes of VAR. And plus, the more the referees and officials get used to VAR, the quicker it'll be.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be much quicker. You saw it already. I saw it in what is the name of that younger referee?
Michael Oliver.
He was getting messages. He was responding as they were coming into it. And it was as quick as anything. Now, he didn't have to deal with any major decisions in his match. Now, this isn't this weekend, but this is the previous round. He didn't have to deal with any major decisions that were, you know, taking 3 or 4 minutes. But it worked. And it worked like similar to when we've said it before, when the goal line technology came in. Yeah. The watch went off. It's a goal.
Yeah.
Well, like, and then it just stopped, and there was no messing around.
Yeah.
And you see that in other countries where they haven't brought in goal line technology yet, like Spain,
yeah,
where there's still silly decisions happening, and that is why everyone's going to roll behind VAR, whether people like it or not, and whether it's a source of debate at the moment. It's going to come in.
Yeah. And
you can either fair enough criticizing it. It's all open for criticism. Fair enough, you know, having you know, an informed conversation on it. But don't just say, "Oh, it's a year too early."
Yeah.
Or this is ridiculous. Like that's it smacks of Luddite.
Yeah.
You know, it smacks of just not being like, "Oh, I don't like this technology. It's going to ruin football."
Like, and you can say that every year. You're like, "Oh, it's still a year too early." You can keep pushing it back like that, but it's never going to get better unless it's used.
Yeah. Like the back pass. Like I know these aren't technological changes in the game. The back pass rule, though, multiple substitutes. Having, you know, different changes in extra time and penalties and stuff like that. They've all come in and then met with different, you know, shades of opposition. But they've come in. Yeah. Now I know this is technology, so it's slightly different and more subjective, but it's for the good of the game in the long run. I think
definitely.
It's going to remove so much, you know,
doubt.
Yeah, and like so much anger in the match.
Tedious debate.
Yeah, like you don't need to like. If we see a handball that's a clear handball and the referee doesn't see it, and then for the next week all we talk about is that handball that the referee didn't see.
And it's just annoying for the fans that were aggrieved.
We all want the right decisions to be made. Like they say, things even themselves up over a season, and that is true. Like and that's just, it tends to happen. That's the law of averages. There's no superstition to it or anything like that. That's just eventually things kind of, you know, they even themselves out. But wouldn't it be nice if just things didn't have to even themselves out?
Yeah.
I know when you're a fan watching a match and you're like, you want an angle, you want some kind of narrative to say that we were hard done by if we didn't win. We were like, or even if we did win, that we were the better side. That, you know, even with, you know, the referee against us, we still won. Yeah. Or, you know, we would have won if we got that penalty, or if they hadn't got that free kick, or if their player got sent off.
Yeah.
But imagine if the world just existed like that, and then you have a more objective view of the match. It'll take a while to get used to.
Then we can actually have some actual analysis.
Yeah. And it's something that a lot of the media is getting used to, I think, because they don't want to have to deal with that change. That they believe that football is a certain way and has to continue to be that way, and can be, you know, the thing they want to say is it's, you know, football is the same as if you play down the park or if you're playing in Old Trafford. But it's not. It's not,
no. Like, when we play 5-a-side, it's not the same as what's happening in Old Trafford.
If you play 11-a-side, like, you're not... Like, the speed alone, like, football is so much quicker at a higher level. Every level you go up, it is astronomically faster and more technical and more precise. It isn't the same on a mechanical level, let alone the fact that, me playing down the park is the same as me playing in front of 65,000 people with screaming at me, with advertising hoardings, flashing betting odds at me, saying, I'm going to score next and I make that much money. Well, I don't make that much, but someone's going to make that much money. That means they like me. If they like me, do I get an endorsement contract with Gillette? You know?
Well, that's a whole other debate.
It is, but that's, you know, these things must come into their minds at some point.
And then you want to talk about the Europa League as well?
Well, I wanted to just mention quickly about the Europa League last week. Is the first round of the last 32 happened last Thursday.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic football. It was like teams unleashed. It reminds you of the best of international football. You did have a few like what you consider normal results for the Europa League, where Arsenal destroy Ostersund. Milan win comfortably.
Yeah.
You know, those matches, cast those aside, but some of the matches, like Sporting against the Azerbaijan side that begins with A as well.
I can't remember the name of them.
They're in the Champions League previously, but like the Azerbaijani side, forgive me for forgetting the name, took the lead and Sporting came back, and some of the goals, there was a goal you wouldn't see even in FIFA.
Yeah.
The ball came over and your man flicked it with his back heel over another player's head and then ran through on goal.
How did I miss this?
Like, there was amazing long range goals from Memphis Depay after trying to do Maradona wrong foot kick.
He loves the Europa League, it seems.
He's playing very well despite his like weird, playing that he kind of doesn't look very good and then does something amazing.
Yeah, he's one of those weird kind of players.
Throughout the Europa League, there were some fantastic matches. Like Napoli got not destroyed, but it looked like they got destroyed by RB Leipzig in the end, losing at home.
Yeah.
3-1, so they're out. Lazio losing. Like, the Italian teams don't care.
Yeah, the Italian teams are just giving up.
Yeah, they don't care that it's not affecting the coefficient
Milan
anymore. Yeah, well, Milan have nothing. They have to win to get in.
Yeah.
Speaking of Milan, their owner went bankrupt today.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah.
I saw a headline, but it was Italian, so.
Yeah, but that's what is happening. Milan is in,
So what does that even mean for Milan?
I think they're for sale again. They're looking for another buyer.
Berlusconi.
Berlusconi has an election in a few weeks in Italy, and that's a whole other story in Italian football. He's banned from being elected, but his party is going to be the biggest party, I presume. So who knows what that means for Milan? Maybe the good times are coming back for them again. But if anyone has a chance to watch second legs of the Europa League this coming Thursday, have a go at them, because it's as if the teams the teams that care about it or that are actually trying are playing with such free flowing football.
Yeah.
It's all, if we win, it doesn't really matter. We're probably going to get knocked out the next round. If we lose, it doesn't matter because it's just Europa League. It's like they're playing with freedom.
Yeah,
and it's wonderful.
There's no real consequence either way.
Because no one really thinks they're going to win it, bar maybe an Arsenal or a Milan who want to win it.
Yeah, and like it's not until the quarterfinals the teams will actually start to think, oh, maybe maybe we can.
Like, that's why he scored another 2 goals for.
He's been very prolific at Dortmund.
Yeah, but he's actually playing well. He's playing a completely different role to what he played.
It suits his role
he's playing like slightly deeper, but then attacking the goal rather than being this kind of target man thing that they wanted him to be at Chelsea, which his physique may look like he is, but technically he's a much more gifted player than that.
And like the Europa League over the last few years, I think has had some.
Well, Ajax going to the final.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Like, that was good. Like Manchester United, obviously, were the big fish in the small pond.
Yeah,
and they kind of like steamrolled their way through it in the end. But and Sevilla for the previous whatever
they won 3 years in a row.
3 years in a row or something like that. They won 5. They won the most.
But like, just think of that Liverpool Dortmund match. The year they got to the final. Like that
James
was incredible.
Milner.
There's been that'll be a bit harsh to say. There's been nothing like that in the Champions League. There has been.
Yeah, but it's not to the. Like, the Champions League is elevated by the fact that it is such high quality football, which I know we're going to come to shortly. But it's also the teams involved. It isn't a Sporting, no offence to Sporting Lisbon, but isn't a Sporting Lisbon versus, I cannot think of the Azerbaijan
side.
I
know the one you're thinking of. I just can't think of their name.
It is Real Madrid Juventus. It is, Bayern Munich versus Barcelona. It is these huge teams with
there's a lot more at
history.
stake.
Yeah, and just feels like they didn't adjust the timings of Carnival to go see.
Yeah.
They did that for the Paris Real Madrid match last week.
Yeah, I still the Europa League is a nice little. The only problem I have with the Europa League is I don't really feel like watching football on Thursday.
Football's good. It's getting a bit awkward remembering that they're on at 6:00.
I do like that. Yeah, I like that it's on at 6 and 8.
Yeah, but it's difficult remembering that they're on. Like, oh no, I've just missed half the matches because I
wish they'd do that in the Champions League though. Maybe that's too much football then. Maybe
I think it's going to come in the Champions League.
Yeah, it sounds like they've thought about it.
Yeah, certainly for the group stages where there is a lot of overlapping matches.
And there's already a few group matches that are on earlier anyway.
Yeah, for geographic reasons they can't be on.
Yeah,
they put them on 7:45. It's like
midnight over there.
Yeah, and it's like ridiculous to start, and it's cold, so it's not a good thing to be.
Very cold.
Yeah.
Well, that'll do us for the news. Join us after the break where we'll talk about individuality and the elitism in football at the moment. Welcome back. We were watching the match last Wednesday and
between Paris
Saint-Germain and Real Madrid, and this is kind of more of a free-form topic to show, I think, because nothing really came to mind over the weekend. But Rory Smith had an interesting tweet that I saw where he was saying that there are a couple of journalists talking about the poor quality of the match, but there was still individual quality. And Rory Smith had the interesting hypothesis that this is where elite football is going over the next few years.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting
Jonathan Wilson agreed.
Yeah, Jonathan Wilson agreed.
So that's a sign that it is going to happen.
Also, it's definitely going to happen then, yeah, and he'll write a book about it or something.
Yeah, most likely.
But it was interesting, and it was also just kind of depressing to think that that's where elite football could be going in the next few years.
Yeah, well, we're moving away from the kind of systematic process of the last 10 or so years, which there is some fine proponents of that still going. Mourinho, Pep Guardiola, Klopp.
Yeah.
That have this kind of, you play my system, you play gegenpressing Klopp or Wagner's way, or you play like complete control football the way that Pep plays, or you play defensive break.
Yeah.
Kind of still individualistic, but very much a defensive system to it of Mourinho. But now you're looking at, you have these caretakers, as I'd like to call them.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So you have Zidane, who took over from Ancelotti, who took over from Mourinho, who took over from, I forget who even...
Juan Ramos, Pellegrini.
Pellegrini, who Mourinho took over from. Who took over, and this goes all the way back to, in terms of Real Madrid, you can probably make an argument that goes back to the mid-90s when the current Bayern Munich manager, I've forgotten his name, Jupp Heynckes won the Champions League with them in 98, and kind of that was the start of that. He built the kind of superstar team of like Clarence Seedorf and Raúl breaking his way through, and Morientes is coming through, and Redondo, and the Madrid core, Sanchez,
the Galacticos.
Well, this is prior Galacticos. Yeah. He built this kind of core team.
It was a good base.
Yeah, it was the base team, the Spanish team that had won the 5 in a row, and their league titles in a row in the early 90s, plus these kind of cherry-picked foreigners that would come in and do well for them, that bought from the biggest teams in the world also. And then the Welshman, who John Toshek took over, and then people forget John Toshek was the Real Madrid manager. He took over, and then he lasted half a season. Then Vicente Del Bosque was brought in for half a season as a caretaker, and then stayed for 3 years, which is as long as any manager has stayed till like Mourinho / Zidane now.
Yeah,
that's as long as he won 2 Champions Leagues in that time, a league title, and was sacked because he wasn't good enough. Because in their centenary year, they only won the Champions League.
Yeah.
And that was when the Galacticos were built in that period, where Figo was bought initially, then Zidane, and Nelka was bought right before it as well when he was the hottest striker in the world. Steve McManaman was bought from Liverpool when he was one of the best players in the world. They built these little Galacticos, and then Beckham, Roberto Carlos was already there as well. He was a former Galactico, I suppose. And they built this project, but the manager was just on a... you can go through the Wikipedia of Real Madrid managers.
The manager didn't affect the team at all.
No, not hugely. You can see stamps where the manager came in, under Mourinho, this suddenly became a lot harder.
They were very their counter-attack became amazing.
Yeah, and they were very, focused on speed, we're dropping the defensive... or not the defensive players, because he kept the defence very solid.
He moved Ramos into the middle, though.
They had a set formation where they had hard and fast defenders with a bank of 2, which was 1 passer, 1 defender, and then 4 clear attackers in the team. Whether at the time it was Ronaldo, Benzema, Di Maria,
Ozil,
Higuain, Kaká was there at the time.
Xabi Alonso.
He'd be in the defensive too, but it was a rolling kind of changeable formation, and that kind of stuck. And it stuck. In fairness, a few players were subtracted in and out. Di Maria was sold, Ozil was sold, Kroos was brought in, Modric was brought in. But they kept the same core of it going, and Zidane has continued that going without really changing. He's made a few tweaks here and there. Maybe they'll play a bit different against certain teams, but there's not wholesale changes going on. There's not the way that Pep went into Bayern Munich and they've just won the treble, and I'm going to dismantle your team.
Yeah.
And we're on and within 6 months they were playing a completely different style of football, all possession all the time. There was no big counterattacks, players coming in on the wrong side. There wasn't a big target man in the middle that they were going to ping the ball to.
Yeah.
It was much more controlled, and then finished by a great striker in Lewandowski.
But PSG was kind of the perfect opponent for Real Madrid because they're just a wannabe Real Madrid at the moment. They bring in Neymar, they brought in Kylian Mbappe.
Which has been
They've
made
had Di
permanent
Maria.
today.
Oh, was that? Oh, I didn't see that.
Because if you forget, Kylian Mbappe is only on loan from Monaco.
Yeah.
For financial fair play reasons.
And they brought them in, like they're individuals. We made the comment, we were watching the match together, the one on Wednesday, and like you made the comment of like Neymar is trying to do it himself.
Yeah, he was just
like
trying
it was very obvious that he was trying to do it himself as well.
Like, and Unai Emery is a systems manager.
Yeah, but he
hasn't done
there's
it
no
at
identity
all.
at all there.
There's none. Like he's tried to like change things by dropping a lot of the older guard in the team, eliminating them from the squad.
Yeah, like I thought it was interesting that he dropped Thiago Silva.
He's bringing in homegrown players. Areola's homegrown goalie.
Lo Celso played on Wednesday.
Mbappe.
Yeah.
Rabiot, who scored. Yeah, you said Lo Celso. Like, there's loads of players that are at the what fantastic youth system that Paris has.
Yeah.
That he brought in because they weren't like these star names, but then he still has the biggest star they have, which is Neymar. Just okay, the rest of the team, you do what you're going to do. Neymar can do whatever he wants because he's Neymar, and he did it time and time again to try to not make people try to be 4 or 5 players.
Yeah.
The rest of the team were just standing there.
But then the interesting statistic I saw before the match as well was that the back 8 of PSG cost 77 million or something, and then the front 3 cost over 400 million.
Yeah,
like there's such a huge difference there,
and that's one of the biggest problems in football, and always has been since its inception. Is the key to success is balance.
Yeah.
And if you have a front 3 who cost in multiples of the rest of the team,
yeah,
you're not going to have balance, you're not going to have harmony. If nothing else, there's going to be, kind of, and it's been widely reported in Paris that there's, how would you say it in a kind way, there's been problems in the dressing room between the players that they aren't getting on. Apparently there's a Brazilian contingent, although Lucas Moura was sold.
Yeah.
He went from playing the...
He was not as high a profile a player though.
No, but Dani Alves is there and Neymar, and they apparently run the show.
Yeah.
The manager's just a sideshow that is probably out the door already. It was amazing he was kept on for this season.
Especially after what happened against Barcelona.
Yeah, and they lost the league as well, which is like...
Yeah.
You have to remember, Rabiot said it after the match, it's all well and good beating Dijon 8-0, but these are the matches that count.
Yeah.
And they couldn't do it.
And he was the only one that seemingly stepped up.
Yeah. Like, that's, both of these teams are... It's harsh criticising Paris because both of these teams are individualistic teams.
Yeah.
There was no shape to either... There's an obvious, basic shape, but there was no, pass the ball around... We're going to create shots by going down the wings and crossing the ball, or by breaking quickly, or by creating these little interlocking moves. No, it was whatever you feel like doing. Marcelo, you want to run 80 yards with the football? You go on.
He actually had got a good game as well.
Yeah, he did. Excuse me. And he always has good teams. He's still one of the best players in the world in his position, certainly. Ronaldo just doing nothing except being explosive and precise. He
still scored twice.
Fantastic, return. You say from return, he took 10 shots and he scored.
Yeah,
it's a 20% return. That's
it's
what's
a good...
that in baseball? It's 200 in baseball.
Yeah,
that's not a good return when you actually think about the amount.
In
of
terms
shots
of goals a game, it is a good return.
Yeah, if you take it, it depends on your statistic or what you want to judge it by. But Ronaldo, like you said, he's still the box office. He's still the difference, if you want to call him that, between Real Madrid and a team like Paris. Yeah,
Neymar needs to kind of become that figure for PSG, but he's
not. I don't know if they're capable of doing that in an individualistic style. Like, he was a second fiddle or third fiddle indeed to both Messi and Suarez of Barcelona.
Yeah.
And he took that, in fairness to him. He took it and he played well, and he always Messi's better than me, blah blah blah, because he was.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to up himself, and maybe by going to Paris he's breaking away from that, because he has won league titles and he has won Champions League.
Yeah.
At Barcelona, he's won what he can win at Barcelona. He won the challenge, and it's fair enough if he gets a lot more money as well. I wouldn't blame him for it. But can you do that in an individualistic team? Like, looking back in time, international football is filled with individual teams, like individual based teams. So teams that don't really have a great style or system of play, that are kind of just built. Okay, we've got this good player, Gareth Bale in Wales. It's unfair because Wales do have a good team. They did have a good team in Euro 2016. But Gareth Bale is clearly better than everyone else.
Yeah, they fed the ball to him and he created
play to his strengths.
Yeah.
But then other teams that have kind of more even individualistic teams. like Germany teams in the past, although it's unfair to criticise a lot of Germany teams, but in the 90s where they were like play to Klinsmann, play to our strengths. So we've got Sammer and we've got Klinsmann, and they're the opposite ends of the team, but we can try and figure a way to get those two players on the ball most. Or you look at it, Brazil 82, where it was kind of, okay, we have a load of really good attacking players, so let's let them go and do their thing. Let them, how would you say it? Let them express themselves. Harry Redknapp.
Try and outscore the opposition.
Just try and outscore Kevin Keegan's style of management.
Yeah.
Just, express your football. Do it right. France between like 82 and 86 were kind of like this as well. It's like Platini knows what he's doing. Everyone else just kind of play around Platini. That was their style. And it's fair enough. It works at times. It won France 84, Euro 84.
Yeah.
It got them to 2 World Cup semi-finals. It got Brazil very close to a World Cup in 82 and again kind of in 86. Argentina in 86, you can make an argument that it was kind of like these are a bunch of really good individuals who don't play with each other often.
It was Maradona's team.
It was, and they kind of led around them. And it's, Real Madrid are the classic example in club football the last few years where it's kind of, they aren't playing phenomenal football, and you can say almost in every one of their matches they're lucky.
Yeah.
But then you look at who they played, like last season, who'd they play? Bayern Munich, Juventus.
Atletico
Madrid. Like, they're not easy matches.
Yeah.
Like, and they were even, most of the matches for a lot of them, like, Juventus kind of went away in the second half of that match.
Yeah, and Atletico were kind of just tired
of playing. Well, they came back in the second leg.
Yeah, that's true.
It came back, and Bayern were similar as well. But Madrid carried their way through their sheer power of individual personality. Yeah. That, like, okay, Toni Kroos knows how to do something. Luka Modric knows how to do something. Gareth Bale can do something. Benzema can do something. Ronaldo can do something. Sergio Ramos, like, he's a clutch player. He can do something. And we have everyone else is decent. Like, Marcelo was a very good player. Carvalho was a very good player. But Carvajal.
Yeah.
Is a very good player.
But do you see this being the case for Real Madrid, PSG, maybe Manchester United as well?
Well, that's the way Manchester United look to be going with their
Do you see that being just the case for these 3 clubs, or do you see more and more clubs following a similar pattern?
I think it could be cyclical. Because I know we mentioned Bayern Munich as under Pep, they're a system team. But if you take Pep out of that equation, Bayern Munich have been on the same kind of rotation since probably the mid-90s when they started hiring foreign coaches with Giovanni Trapattoni, and then, cycling through them, getting through to Hitzfeld, and, on from there where there's kind of the greatest hits of managers around Europe. We'll go to Bayern for a season and see how they did. Probably win Bundesliga.
Had Jupp Heynckes a few times and have him again now. It seems like they're desperate to kind of keep him.
Yeah, and sometimes the managers or the players are the same, sometimes they're different, but they seem to all slot into it.
Yeah.
They play their own football whether the manager's there or not. The manager's not imprinting a distinctive style on them. I see it's probably going to happen at the most elite level because I think the movement of players is going to stay high in the coming times, as in players are just going to move around. They're not going to be at a club long enough to either adopt a club values or, have a distinctive style that they can't just, I have to play this way because this is the way I played in my prior club and this is the only way I know how to play. And unless the manager has time with players, that isn't going to change. And I think managers and players are going to be moving around at such a rate that's going to be very difficult outside of, clubs that really commit to a project to do. Like, system managers will always exist and they'll come around in a cycle.
So what does this mean for Klopp?
I think, Klopp is a very good manager. He's proven that. But he always has had more limited resources than everyone else. Maybe Klopp should run a youth system for a country.
Do you see Klopp going to the likes of Real Madrid or Barcelona or Bayern Munich? Well, Bayern Munich probably not.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't say no to it. I wouldn't say he wouldn't go to Bayern Munich. I think anything can happen, especially in a manager's career. Like, things change over time.
Yes, he's an interesting one because it just seems like he's got an odd career path. Like, it seems like he's destined to manage Germany next, and then after that, it's not certain.
I have no idea who would manage Germany next. It's a poison chalice, I think.
Yeah, because Jogi Löw's been there a long time.
I wouldn't be surprised if Oliver Bierhoff, not to get off topic, but Oliver Bierhoff or Philip Lahm or someone like that is just elevated to the position.
Yeah, maybe. But it'd be interesting to see Jurgen Klopp bring his style to the international game. Yeah,
because if he can, I still clearly believe, and I think history points this out, systematic teams are better than individualistic teams. In overall, the best World Cup teams, And we didn't even mention Brazil 1970, who are the most individualistic team probably in history, where it's just a collection of great players just doing their thing, and it worked. And they got lucky. They didn't get lucky, but it worked.
They
and
were
they
just
won the
that much better than everyone else.
But the systematic teams always end up being better. Like the teams that stay together long, that know exactly how everyone plays. The Arilli Milan sides, the great Italian sides, the Barcelona under Pep.
Yeah.
The great Dutch teams, the great Ajax teams, the great Manchester United teams under Ferguson, who knew exactly what he wanted. He worked with them for years to get them to play that way, and they all played that way. They are the best teams in history.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to do that. It's a lot harder than that, and it's just buy the best
and like
players.
Real Madrid have won 3 of the last 4 Champions League with this style.
Because they bought the best players, and they were just about good enough to beat the teams.
Yeah.
Given the circumstances.
With a bit of good fortune.
Good fortune and bad fortune for the other teams, but then that's how you win things.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the...
No, I think, whatever you think at home, if you think we're wrong about the rise of, say, we don't have a good term for it, but individualism within teams driving success rather than, playing good football or having a plan driving success.
That will do us for the top of the show. Join us after the break where we will do Guess the Player. Welcome back. Now we're going to close the show with Guess the Player. Andrew, you know how this works, as per. I just have to find the player now.
Well, I'll let the people know.
Can you explain the game?
Yeah, that Declan's going to pull out a few clues, which are teammates of a particular player that I do not know of, and he might have some hints for me as well. And I'm going to try to identify the player based on his teammates.
Thank you for filling in for me there, Andrew. I've got the player now. Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jibril Cisse.
Okay.
Landon Donovan.
Okay.
Dietmar Hamann.
Okay.
Miroslav Klose.
Okay.
Danny Rose.
Okay.
Steve Finnan.
Okay.
Patrick Vieira.
Patrick Vieira. I'm immediately drawn to Jimmy Traore.
No, Jibril Cisse.
No, but Jimmy Traore as the player.
Oh, right, okay.
As a guest. Jibril Cisse played for Liverpool and France. Did you say Patrick Vieira?
Yeah.
He played for France. Landon Donovan played for America, Everton, LA Galaxy. He played for a team in Germany as well.
Okay.
Who would have played with Landon Donovan at Everton and played with Jibril Cisse? Is it the only player I'm thinking right now is the famous Man City and Everton centre half? I've forgotten his name.
What era of Man City?
In the mid 2000s, and then he went to Everton. And he played alongside Phil Jagielka for years. Big tall Frenchman.
Well, it's not him because I can't even think of that guy's name.
Well, that's a good sign. Give me a hint there because I don't know any.
He played for 6 different Premier League clubs between 1999 and 2003, but did spend 1 year in the Championship in this time.
Okay, 1 year in the Championship. So Dietmar Hamann played for Liverpool and Man City. I think. Did he play for Bolton as well, or was it
I think he did play at Bolton, yeah.
Oh, but is that a clue or not? See, you're drawn to a French player because you doubt a player played with Jibril Cisse and played with Patrick Vieira, because Patrick Vieira only played for Man City.
Yeah.
And
there are 2 German players in there as well.
Who's the other one apart from Dietmar Hamann?
Miroslav Klose.
Miroslav Klose never played in the Premier League, only played for Germany, and played for a variety of clubs: Werder Bremen, Bayern Munich, Lazio. I don't know who else he played for. Schalke, I'm going to guess. I don't know. Give me another hint there.
In his time in England, he won a championship title the year he was in the Championship, a League Cup, 2 Premier League titles, and a Champions League. And away from England, he also won a Coppa Italia.
It's Nicolas Anelka.
It's not Nicolas Anelka.
It's not Nicolas Anelka. Because Nicolas Anelka would have, although he didn't go down to the Championship, I don't think.
No, I don't remember him playing in the Championship.
But he did win Premier League titles and Champions League with Chelsea.
Was he in that team though in the Champions League?
Yeah, he scored a penalty, I think.
I just remember missing a penalty in
the previous one. Yeah. No, I think well, maybe he was gone at that point. I do not know. We'll keep moving on.
Okay.
Do you have any more hints?
He was once bought for £12.4 million.
Is it? It isn't El Hadj Diouf.
No.
I don't think he played with Patrick Vieira, but he played with everyone else. I'd say. Well, he hasn't played with Klose. It has to be German then. Hitzelsberger?
It's not his.
Michael Ballack?
It's not Michael Ballack. When did he play in the championship?
Yeah, true. True. That's a good point. See, he had to have played for Diego.
No.
No. He played with Werder Bremen with Klose.
He earned 20 caps for his country, only scoring 4 times.
Only scoring 4 times would indicate like he must be a striker or something.
Yeah.
Who's a German striker? Oliver Neuville. That played Carsten Janker. I'm trying to think of German strikers from the early 2000s.
I have one final hint.
Yes, go on.
Missed the 2006 World Cup final through suspension, having received a yellow card in the semi-final, and he then went 4 years before his next call-up to the national side in a European qualifying team.
Okay. So the World Cup final in 2006 was between Italy and France.
Yeah.
So who missed the match for one of those teams? Is it Luca Toni?
It's not Luca Toni.
But he didn't play in the championship. So it's a player who played in the World Cup final. He must be French. William Gallas?
It's not William Gallas.
Let's go through that side. Claude Makelele. He didn't play in the championship.
Played with Steve Finnan, like.
I said Jimmy Traore. That was a bit...
What players play, or Danny Rose?
Danny Rose?
Danny Rose is one of the players in the list.
Was he one of the players on the list? Oh, Pascal Chimbonda?
Nope. I did warn you during the week that this would be a difficult one.
Yeah, it is a difficult one. Now, who won a Champions League and played in the World Cup final in 2006? I'm trying to think of that French team. Patrick Vieira. Who played alongside Florent Malouda?
It's not Florent Malouda. Some cracking names being called out here, though.
It is, yeah. Trezeguet, Henry, Vieira, Zidane, Lizarazu. Was it Willy Sagnol? No, it was Willy Sagnol. Who played Lilian Thuram? Eric Abidal? Fabien Barthez?
It's not Fabien Barthez.
That's the whole French team that I can remember.
Well, then you're going to have to think of...
No, I don't know. Who was it?
Do you give up?
Yeah, I give up.
Louis Saha.
Ah, Louis Saha.
He played with... This is
He
really...
was in 2006 World Cup.
He was, yeah.
He played like... I didn't think he played. I don't remember.
Got a yellow against Portugal in the semi-final.
What a terrible
I think he got a yellow against Brazil in the quarter-final as well. It was pretty quick suspension.
The team that Zidane carried.
Yeah. Speaking of carrying teams with Zidane.
Yeah.
No,
that was a good one. That's a good one for someone like that. Who did he play with Miroslav Klose with?
It was Lazio, yeah. I was so difficult this week that I actually took note of who he played with. He played with Gabriel Cisse at France.
Yeah.
Landon Donovan at Everton, and the same with Vieira.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
He played with Didi Hamann at Newcastle.
Newcastle before Liverpool.
Yeah.
Oh.
He
was at Newcastle.
Yeah.
I thought he went from France to Fulham.
No, he had a loan. He spent a year on loan
at Newcastle.
Played with Danny Rose at Sunderland.
Oh, okay.
And played with Steve Finnan at Fulham.
Yeah.
There were no... I tried to put no Manchester United players in there in case that might give it away.
Yeah.
But that was the team he won the Champions League with as well, of course.
Yeah.
So that will do us for the show this week. Thought that was a pretty good guest player.
Yeah, you're happy with yourself.
I finally beaten you.
Well, just about.
Yeah.
If I had the squad sheet in front of me, you wouldn't have beaten me.
Yeah. Maybe if Matthias was here, he might have thought of it. I'll have to give it to him during the week. But thank you for listening or watching, as the case may be, this week. Please do contact the show at the TF Pod on social media or the tfpod@gmail.com. Spread the word about the show to your friends, animals. You know, the more the merrier, as you always say.
Yeah, they all count.
And thank you for being here, Andrew.
Thank you, Declan.
And thank you for listening.
Okay, Twitch, we're going to stop now because I'm going to cough.
Which comment there?
Yeah.
What does it say?
Green.